expulsion for the game for Harrison. First down and 10. Mahomes, after all of that, he comes out firing, and he finds Tyreek Hill for a big gain inside the 20.
3 straight years.
Welcome to the Deep Out. This is the last Week 10 game. The Memphis Mafia defeat the Washington Redskins by a score of 41-14. Jay Villing is the head coach of the Memphis Mafia, and Andrew Jatso is the head coach of the Washington Redskins. The Mafia's quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, the player of the game, could not be stopped today. Mahomes completed 74% of his passes for 377 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception. Wide receiver A.J. Brown now leads the league in yardage after his 9 receptions for 164 yards. The Mafia had 30 first downs and was 12 of 14 on third down conversions. The Washington Redskins. Once again, Josh Allen could not get it done. Allen completed only 9 of his 18 passes for a humble 72 yards, no TDs, and 2 costly interceptions. Halfback Aaron Jones has had some good games despite Allen's troubles. Today, Aaron Jones rushed 17 times for 100 yards and 1 TD. The Memphis Mafia is now 8-2, and the Washington Redskins are now 2-9. The Memphis Mafia head coach and GM is Jay Villing. He is an experienced and formidable play caller. Add to that his superior vision in forecasting young talent suitable for the gridiron. The Mafia was knocked out of the playoffs last year, but this year they have a good chance to win it all. After 10 games, Patrick Mahomes, 323 pass attempts, completing 57%, with a 7.9 yard average per completion, 18 TDs, 11 interceptions, with an 87.0 rating. As good as Mahomes is, it's the running game that propels the Mafia's offense. The Mafia's defense is great as always.
It's Kelsey. Kelsey reaches for the touchdown.
In the pistol this time. Fake it to Johnson. And Deshaun will keep it himself and take it to the end zone with 2:38. So now all of a sudden it's a 2-score.
The Key West Divers defeated the Sacramento Gunslingers by a score of 35-23. Randy Waltenberg is the head coach of the Key West Divers, and Randy Leeper is the head coach of the Sacramento Gunslingers. The Divers copy last week's game. The player of the game is quarterback Deshaun Watson. He continued his Pro Bowl caliber of play, completing 69% of his passes for 200 yards and 2 TDs. The $6 million man, halfback Dalvin Cook, added 18 rushing attempts for 112 yards and 1 TD. Cook also had 3 receptions for 32 yards and an additional TD. Free safety John Johnson returned an interception for a 27-yard touchdown in the first quarter. Once Key West got the lead, they kept it, defeating the Gunslingers for a second time this season. The Gunslingers, down by 14 points in the first quarter, had to rely on the passing game. Russell Wilson would close the gap only to have the Gunslingers defense give up more TDs to the Divers. Russell Wilson completed 24 of his 48 pass attempts for 230 yards, 1 TD, and 1 interception. The Sacramento Gunslingers are now 6-5, and the Key West Divers are 8-3.
Toss. And Bud Dupree. This is a 3rd and 6. Watson steps up. Watson on time as he connects with Kenny Still. Hunter Renfrow in there, of course. Here's Carr now. Throwing. Zips it for Waller. Went up to get it and has the first down.
The Wisconsin Stooges defeat the Greenwich Spartans by a score of 18-15. Bob Schultz is the head coach of the Wisconsin Stooges, and Scott Smith is the head coach of the Greenwich Spartans. The Stooges win a defensive game. No player from either team put up good numbers in this game. Derek Carr completed 58% of his passes for 240 yards, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 17 rushing attempts for only 59 yards and 1 TD. Wide receiver DK Metcalf had 4 receptions for 71 yards. Wisconsin was 3 of 12 on third down conversions. That is 25%. The Spartans were more of the same. Good defense and sporadic offense. Teddy Bridgewater completed 63% of his passes for 176 yards and 1 interception. David Montgomery had 13 rushing attempts for only 59 yards. And wide receiver Marquise Valdez-Scanlon had 2 receptions for 76 yards. The Spartans were 2 of 12 on third down conversions. That's 17%. The Stooges are now 7-4, and the Greenwich Spartans are also 7-4.
It's all the passing game now. There's his most trusted target. Again, it is Darren Waller.
You look at the Colts last year, Ken, I think they started 1-5 and wound up winning 9 of the last 10.
How about Collins and Van Oy throwing Bell for the 5-yard loss
This couple weeks.
and they're up.
The Chippewa Valley Badgers defeated the Eau Claire Rockers by a score of 13-6. Larry Zorn is the head coach of the Chippewa Valley Badgers, and Steve Brandvold is the head coach of the Eau Claire Rockers. The Badgers' player of the game is, big surprise, not terrific Tom Brady, but his outside linebacker Kyle Van Oy. He had 10 tackles and a fumble recovery that he ran back 27 yards for the only TD of the game. Tom Brady completed 58% of his passes for 131 yards and 1 interception. Halfback Kenyon Drake had 7 rushing attempts for 8 awesome yards. The Badgers had 9 first downs and somehow won this game. The Rockers put up some nice numbers. Kyler Murray completed 86% of his passes for 153 yards. Baker Mayfield completed 58% of his passes for 142 yards. Rockers ran the ball 26 times for 102 yards. They were 6 of 17 on third down conversions and held the ball for 38 minutes, but were 2 of 21 in the red zone, resulting in no TDs. The CV Badgers are now 6-5, and the Eau Claire Rockers are now 2-9.
He's just trying to do too much here. He's really fortunate that one of his teammates fell on this fumble. He has fumbled 4 times this year. He's lost 2 of them. And from behind comes Van Oy to rip it out.
And Cody.
This drive has taken up nearly 8 minutes. Robinson has some room. Robinson, there he goes. First NFL touchdown for the undrafted rookie, James Robinson.
The Lakeland Lizards defeated the Memphis Mafia by a score of 21-16. Kurt Retzlaff is the head coach of the Lakeland Lizards, and Jay Villing is the head coach of the Memphis Mafia. Halfback James Robinson is the player of the game for the Lizards. Robinson rushed 19 times for 147 yards with 2 TDs. Lakeland used 3 quarterbacks this game: Jones, Stafford, and Dalton. Andy Dalton was the best today, completing 81% for 152 yards and 1 TD. James Robinson also had 3 receptions for 26 yards with an additional TD. The Mafia's running game was unaffected. 16 rushing attempts for 121 yards and 1 TD, but quarterback Patrick Mahomes was the focus of the Lizards' defense, limiting his effectiveness. Mahomes, 13 of 30 pass attempts. That's 43%. He had only 126 yards passing, no TDs, and no interceptions. The Lakeland Lizards ran 73 plays, and the Memphis Mafia only ran 46. The Lakeland Lizards are now 8-3, and the Memphis Mafia is also 8-3.
Defender has a first down and more as he's up across the 35 to the 37.
Right there.
Robinson again right up the middle. Robinson has a first down, and Robinson's up to the 42-yard.
Remember, Mr. Provolone, speech is man's most important tool for the conveyance of thought.
Yeah, Doc, but when am I gonna start sounding like a banker?
After me. Round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged rascal rudely ran.
Round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged
Round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged.
Round the rough and rascal, the ragged. Oh, look, Doc, I just can't do it. I'm never learned to speak good.
Do not despair, Mr. Provolone. Let's try a new line of attack, shall we? After me. Rocco the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts. Can you say that?
Rocco the rum runner rubbed out Rico the rat with his Roscoe for robbing his rum-running receipts.
You did it!
Sure, you finally come up with something that makes sense.